The Commanders are on the verge of making a mistake that could set them back for a decade, and I'm not going to hide my feelings about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we are here to discuss a pivotal decision that awaits the Commanders and one they could live to regret if they don't make the right decision. So, gather around. Let's talk about it in this video. This is a very popular topic of conversation among the fans as well. So I'm going to give you guys my opinion on this raw and unfiltered, straight from the source. You know exactly what I'm thinking. And I do want your opinions on it as well. So as we go through, make sure you do go to the comment section below. Leave me your thoughts there. Also hit the like button if you enjoy the content and hit the subscribe button if you are new around here. By the way, picking up from my video yesterday, in case anybody was wondering for whatever reason, all the Greek gods who are walking around my surrounding area right now. I mentioned that I was at the gym and I was like, why are these marble statues here? There's a professional bodybuilding competition in town. So if you step outside the house, it's like a bunch of genetic freaks just everywhere. It feels like I'm living in a simulation. It's like I'm in an alternate universe. But just like I said yesterday, you guys did not come here for that. You came here to talk about the Commanders. So let me formally introduce the topic of today's video. The Washington Commanders absolutely should not draft an offensive player with their first round selection, assuming they don't trade back. That's how I'm going to start this. Right now, the Commanders are projected to draft 7th. That could change. They could probably climb up to 10th, 11th, 12th. They might be able to go as low as 5 or 6. But if they're in that range, specifically where they are right now at 7, I am fully convinced drafting an offensive player would be one of the biggest mistakes that we have made in recent years. Now, let me also say this. There are good offensive players in this draft. I'm looking at Tankathon right now. It's right in front of me on my screen. Tankathon is my favorite source for the mock drafts, and they have the Commanders taking Jordyn Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State. Some other people who could be available, Carnell Tate, the Ohio State wide receiver, 6'3", having a really good year. Jeremiyah Love, maybe the best running back prospect since Ashton Jeanty last year. But if you go back before that, one of the better prospects we've had in the last 5 to 10 years. Good players. The gulf in quality between those players and the top defensive prospects, in my opinion, is enormous. There are 3 guys where if they are on the board when the Commanders are drafting, you turn in the card and you run away. You don't think another second about it. I know it's good for TV ratings. The NFL wants teams to take the full 5 minutes or however long they get on the clock. As soon as that pick is announced, you are turning the card in. Those 3 players are Arvell Reese, Reuben Bain, and Caleb Downs. Arvell Reese is my number 1 guy. Him and Bain are edge rushers. And I get it. Downs is a safety, not the sexiest position in the world. But that kid is dynamite. He will be the best safety in the NFL by his 3rd season. He will be a multi-time first-team All-Pro. And when you have the opportunity to draft someone like that, you don't pass up on it. So again, Jordyn Tyson, Jeremiyah Love, Carnell Tate, think they will be very good players. Am I 100% convinced they're going to make multiple All-Pro teams? Much less one? No. And I look at Bain, I look at Reese especially, I look at Downs especially. I say these are Defensive Player of the Year candidates, multi-time first-team All-Pros, multi-time Pro Bowlers. You need to go with them. Okay, but let's get to the other side of this. Oh, what about Jayden Daniels? Like, you know, Terry wasn't here, and you saw what happened to the offense, and Terry's going to be 31. They need to trade him. I never said our receiver room, never said our running back room was a perfect position, where we have a perfect solution. If you look at this Commanders roster, and you ask, where are their holes? You would say receiver, running back, tight end, defensive tackle, defensive end/edge, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Basically every position on the roster except for quarterback, and then offensive line, we're cool with for now. We're seeing how it works out. Maybe you got to shift some guys around. Maybe Chris Paul's not back next year. Maybe you got to move on from Tyler Biadasz. We'll see how Connolly develops. But for right now, they're good. Everything else, everywhere else on the roster, there is a hole. So I am not saying the Commanders don't need receiver help. They don't need running back help. They don't need it with the 7th pick in the draft. That pick is far, far too valuable. And offense is not our problem. How many times have we walked away from a game saying either Jayden Daniels put the team on his back, or in the event we lose, why does Jayden Daniels get no support from the defense? As Commanders fans, it's fun to look at the Ferraris in the window. It would be so cool to get Carnell Tate, who's 12 of 12 on contested catches this year and is getting these big-time touchdowns for Ohio State. I get it. It would be really fun. But if we draft Arvell Reese and you tell me he's getting a sack a game and half of those sacks are on 3rd down or in the 4th quarter, and that's what changes the game, that is what I want. Look at the Commanders' numbers this season. So with all of the problems the offense has had, we traded B-Rob. We don't know who the starting running back is. Jayden's not playing. The offensive line sucks. Terry's not there. Noah's not there. Debo's not there. Luke McCaffrey's not there. Everybody, right? The offense is 7th in success rate. Success rate is a measure of staying ahead of the chains. Do you get the amount of yards you need for a first down? Do you get 50% of those yards on first down? Do you get 70% on second down? And do you get 100% of them on 3rd and 4th down? Staying ahead of the chains. The Commanders' offense is 7th in success rate, 11th in EPA per play, which is scoring efficiency, 12th in yards per play, and then their worst mark is points per game, where they're only 24th. Okay, now what about the defense? 27th in success rate, 30th in EPA per play, 28th in points allowed per game, 31st in yards allowed per play, dead last in yards allowed per pass attempt, and when I checked a week ago, the worst since 1981 in net yards allowed per attempt. So we need to make upgrades on the offense. I'm not saying that we don't, but where we are picking, the best players in this draft play defense. And if the conversation becomes, okay, well, there's so many holes that we need to fill, we need to trade back. Okay, now we've got a new conversation going on here. So what do I think about that? Those 3 players I named, Arvell Reese, Reuben Bain, Caleb Downs, I don't care if the Commanders pick 1st. I don't care if they pick 12th. If one of those guys is on the board, you take them. If we get to pick, let's say Jayden comes back, because I think he's coming back this year. And let's say we win a couple of games, we end up picking 9th. Okay. Arvell Reese goes 1st, Bain goes 5th, and Downs goes 7th. So the Commanders are up at 9. If none of those guys are on the board, I am totally opening to trading back. Okay? Because we do need quality prospects. But if we're picking 7th, or even if we are picking 9th, and one of those guys is on the board, Bain will be an All-Pro. Arvell Reese will be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Downs will be the best safety in the sport. Guarantees that exist there. If we get to 9 and there's an offer to trade back for a 1st and a 2nd and a 1st the year after, or a 1st, a 2nd, and a 2nd the year after, something like that, right? If that trade offer exists, well, let's think about this realistically. So I look at Arvell Reese, and I look at him as exactly Micah Parsons. He plays linebacker, but he's a phenomenal edge rusher. Same thing you saw from Micah at Penn State. He played linebacker, but you're like, dude, you could convert to edge rusher in the NFL, and you could make a living off of that. That's exactly what Micah has done. So if you're asking me, would I rather have Micah Parsons effectively on the first year of a rookie deal, maybe even better than Micah, which is insanely high expectations, but I'm telling you, this kid Reese is absolutely worthy of it. He is insane. So if you're telling me, would I rather have Micah Parsons on the first year of his rookie deal, or would I rather have, let's call it a 1st and 2 seconds? And they're going to be later picks, obviously, as well. So would I rather have Arvell Reese, which is Micah Parsons, or would I rather have Josh Connerly and Drazan Newton and Ben Sinnott? If that's the question, I want Micah Parsons, which is Arvell Reese. I'm interested to know what your guys' thoughts are on that analogy, on that hypothetical there. But I look at it and I recognize the importance of depth. I value depth. Commanders, once we get better players on this roster, very few people should be safe from being traded. You should always be looking to see if you can maximize your investment. If you play dynasty fantasy football, this is something you're familiar with. Oh, you've got a receiving core of Brian Thomas Jr. and Ladd McConkey and Tet McMillan. That's great. You're set for years. But if someone's going to offer you 3 first-round picks for Ladd McConkey, well, you've already got other quality players there, and then you're going to get someone else there. So I recognize the value of having depth, and it's critical. And again, if we're picking at like 12 and some of these guys aren't on the board, then yes, I'm open to trading back. Or yes, I'm open to drafting Jordyn Tyson, Carnell Tate, Jeremiyah Love, whoever it might be. But while I am talking about those players, again, if we're picking 7, those other guys are on the board, I think they're just too good to pass up. So let's actually address those other players now. So Jordyn Tyson, Carnell Tate, I don't know who's going to go first, but one of them is going to get picked in the 10th-ish region, and they will be the first receiver off the board. So who was the player who was drafted in the 10th-ish region last year that was the first receiver off the board? Tet McMillan for the Carolina Panthers. Very good player. Again, same thing I feel about Tate and Tyson. Tet McMillan, very good player. Right now, he's on pace for 1,150 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns, which as a rookie, phenomenal. Is that what has changed life in Carolina? Carolina 1 win away from being 7th spot in the NFC picture, holding a playoff spot. Is that what's changed life? No, it's the fact they have a top 10 defense. It's also the fact they've gotten support from their running game with Rico Dowdle. Tet McMillan's doing a phenomenal job. He's going to be an awesome player, but is he changing life for them? No, he's not. Okay, so what about Jeremiyah Love, who would be the top running back drafted in this draft, potentially 7th, 6th, wherever we pick, if we take him? Well, Jeremiyah Love, let's just call him Ashton Jeanty. Let's just do that, okay? So what did Ashton Jeanty do for the Raiders after being drafted 6th overall last year? Having great running back opens it up for the receivers, opens up for your quarterback. Ashton Jeanty this year has 550 rushing yards after 10 games, so he's averaging about 55 per game, 4 touchdowns, 3.7 yards per carry. You look at Jeanty's numbers, and they're terrible, and I don't even necessarily blame him because he's in a bad situation. But the point remains, you draft a running back when the rest of the team, the sum of the parts, is not where it needs to be to put you in a position to win and win sustainably. And then you get numbers like what Jeanty has. He's also not changing life for the Raiders. He hasn't made any real impact in the NFL. He's got 100-yard rushing game. Other than that, he's never been above 80 yards. So these players, the Loves, the Tates, the Tysons, they're good, but they're just not what the Commanders need right now. And the Connolly pick wasn't exciting because it's a tackle, but it's the right thing to do to build for the long term. The Commanders need to continue doing that. That's safety, corner, edge rusher, defensive tackle, linebacker. Literally every position on the defense is open right now. We would probably hope it's an edge rusher because that's the most valuable position on the defense, but it's got to be someone on the defensive side of the football if any of those top prospects are still on the board. So guys, that's where I'm at with all this. Interested to hear your thoughts on this. I've said it enough times at this point. I just feel like I need to repeat myself because sometimes I read the comments and people say, wow, you think Jordyn Tyson sucks? That's not what I said, but you can go back and watch the video if you want clarification on anything I said. Guys, do leave me your thoughts because this is a very important matter. At this point, a lot of fans want us to lose games to bolster our draft position. So we could be picking pretty early. And in that case, it's important to know, okay, what's our actual plan? So I do want to know your plan. So leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you did hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Link to join the full command Discord is at the top of the description of this video. I'm going to head out of here. I hope you all enjoy your Fridays. Have a wonderful time. Great evening. Lots of fun. I will catch you all in the next one. Have a great day.